What's the starting point going up against their defense? Because they're really good at everything. Is there like a number one worry that you got to handle?
Their linebackers are extremely athletic and extremely physical, so they do a really good job playing the run and playing the pass, so they can cover that second level space really well. So that's one thing you just got to take into account when you're trying to attack their defense. Up front, Von Miller, obviously a really good pass rusher, so you got to be aware of him, where he's at all times. And then their interior guys are physical, big guys. So it's going to be a challenge in all phases to really get after these guys.
What's your reaction Saturday morning after you've practiced the whole game plan with all the changes you made on the offensive line, and Dave comes in, you hear that the knee isn't feeling right and he's not going to be able to go?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing you always have to be ready for, whether it's David or any other guy playing. You always have to have a backup plan. If we're going to do this, all right, then what's the backup plan at each position? That's kind of what you have to go through anytime you make a decision. So when that happened, it was just like, all right, can't really get upset about it. You got to be positive and you got to move on. And I thought Zach did a good job stepping up for his team, and yeah, I was excited about that.
Steno, does if you have a guy like Christian with his speed, does that open up more things in your playbook, or do you guys have that stuff in anyway?
It definitely opens up things for sure. You know, when you can utilize him in a lot of different ways, and we kind of got into that, you know, as the season, earlier parts of the season. So, you know, right now he's coming off a hamstring injury, so it's kind of got to manage him still. You don't want to put too much on his plate. But, yeah, he brings an element to our offense that we haven't had in a few weeks.
You know, with all the shuffling you did with the offensive line last week, how did the mental aspects in terms of missed assignments and things go?
Up front, I thought we did a good job handling their defense. You know, they had a really good line, good pass rushers and stuff. So I thought they did a really good job stepping up and giving 12 some good pockets to make some plays. I was pleased with that. I was disappointed with the penalties. We had a few penalties up front that killed some drives, took away some opportunities, put us in bad positions. So that's just stuff we got to clean up, and that's all stuff that if we just use proper fundamentals, keep our hands inside, things like that, we can fix. So that's what we got to clean up.
So, Steno, when you get the news about David, you already, because I asked you last week about deciding to make the changes, right?
Yeah, how about that? You guys, you talked about, you know, getting comfortable with David back at left tackle, and I'm like, yeah, you know, and then all
I
of a
think I
sudden
did say
that
knock
happened.
on wood.
Yeah, I probably forgot to do that then. That's my fault. But yeah, sorry. Go on.
No, that's fine. I just had a rough start today. All right, so I'm curious, when you find out, you already know we're just putting Zach in. There's no discussion of, all right, we got to move Elton back, and then we got to move Yash. No.
Yeah, we kind of decided, all right, this is the move we want to make. All right, and then, like we talked about earlier, all right, here's the piece we plug in at each spot to, you know,
So what
to cover up for it.
So I was talking to David today about Zach, and I talked to Zach. What did Zach show you, especially on the short notice that he got that he was doing that?
First off, when he got the news, he's not a very emotional guy to begin with. I don't know if you've talked to him much, but he's like, all right. The moment wasn't too big for him. He didn't have the, you know, the wide-eyed look, you know, you're hoping not to see from a rookie, but he did a great job. He competed. He didn't have any mental mistakes or anything like that. Yeah, and he, for the most part, just battled his butt off, and so I was happy to see that.
So not knowing what'll happen this week at that position, right? Matt said today it's fluid every week from now on. So do you change how you prep him? Do you give him a little more work than you had been giving him there? And then B, can you go a little further now with things where maybe you don't have to spend as much help on him on game day?
Yeah, I think the more that he shows he can handle stuff, then you don't have to worry about him game planning wise as far as like chipping and stuff like that. I think we're going to still prepare our guys for all the different possibilities during the week. So To answer your question, no, we haven't really said, all right, you're gonna focus more here in this position. We're still gonna get you ready at multiple positions, just in case something happens.
The decision to go with Zach, did that have more to do with a hunch that you might have had with Zach, even though you hadn't seen it yet, and just what you've seen in practice, or the fact that you've changed everything else but Josh on the offensive line and had a full week of game planning and then
Yeah, it was probably 50-50 where it's like, all right, all these guys have practiced all week at this spot and got mentally ready to do this, so you might as well not completely blow it up right before the game. So yeah, to answer that, yes. And then Zach has shown, he came in versus Minnesota, his first game and did a good job and competed. And then has gotten a little bit better every single week with his scout team reps and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's kind of been both, to answer your question there.
I know because of the things that Aaron said on Tuesday, which I don't want to get into specifically, there's been a lot of talk about mental errors all week now as a result. What are the best ways, especially with inexperienced players who don't have as much knowledge and haven't gone through situations as much? What are the best ways to combat mental errors?
That's a really good question. Biggest thing, when you have a young guy, you say, all right, this is your job on this play. Whatever it is, receiver, O-line, running back, here's your job. This is what we're trying to do. Okay, they have to understand how they fit in the entire play. Whether they're trying to drain a zone, whether he's the primary receiver, whether I'm a running back and this is my aiming point, O-line, this is why I have to block this a certain way because I'm tied into the back. That's my job. Okay, what's the next step though? All right, if the defense does this, what do I have to do? And I think that's the biggest thing that these young guys, they know point A, but now they got to know B and C in order to be a good NFL player. The stuff that can ruin the play, things like that. So just being able to anticipate the other things that can happen on a play, that's kind of, as you as a coach, getting them prepared. Hey, these are the things you got to anticipate on these plays, and then they have to be locked in to translate that to game day. I don't know if that makes sense, but okay.